Think in English, your daily path to fluency. Introduction. Do you want to speak English easily? Imagine talking with people from all over the world. Picture watching your favorite movies without reading words on the screen. Think about sharing your ideas with confidence in any situation. English can help you in many ways. It can help you with your job, when you travel, and it can make life more fun. But for many people, speaking English very well feels like a dream that is far away. It can be hard, and sometimes it feels a little bit annoying, doesn't it? You have probably spent a lot of time learning rules for how English works and learning many words. These things are good to know. They help you build a strong base. But sometimes, even after trying so hard, speaking English still feels slow. You stop a lot. You try to find the right word. It feels like you are building a bridge in your head, from your own language to English, every time you want to say something. This is called translating. It is like trying to walk with a heavy bag on your back. You can move forward, but it is not easy and it uses a lot of your energy. This constant translating is the biggest thing that stops many people from speaking English very well. It stops you from speaking in a way that sounds natural and stops you from feeling sure of yourself. But what if there was another way? A way to find your English skills and speak with real ease? The secret is simple, but it is very strong. You need to learn to think in English right away. This means you must stop translating. Instead of changing your thoughts from your language into English in your head, you start making those thoughts and ideas directly in English. It is like learning to ride a bicycle. When you first start, you might think about every single move you make, but soon it becomes natural. Your brain just knows what to do. Thinking in English is the same. It is about making English a natural part of how you think. When you start thinking in English, amazing things happen. You will find yourself speaking faster because you are not waiting to translate. You will feel more sure of yourself because you are not trying hard to find the right words. They just come to you. Your English will start to sound more natural, like the people you hear on TV or in movies. You will start to understand the small jokes and the easy ways people who speak English all the time put words together. It is not about remembering more words. It is about using the words you know in a way that is much more natural and smooth. It is about truly living in the English language. So, how do we get to this point? This book, Think in English, Your Daily Path to Fluency, is your helper. We will show you a simple, step-by-step way to teach your brain to think in English. It is all about making it a habit you do every day. We will focus on 3 important things: listening carefully, saying what you hear, and speaking with clear help. This is not a magic trick or a fast fix. It is a trip, and the most important part is doing it every day. Even a small amount each day makes a very big change. You have the power to train your mind to think in English. Are you ready to start? Let's begin your trip to speaking English very well, one simple step at a time. 1. Learning English every day. It's easy to feel lost when you start learning a new language. You might see all the words and rules and think, how can I ever learn all this? Many people try to learn English by studying for a long time, but then find it hard to actually talk. They might know many words, but when they try to say something, their mind goes empty. This often happens because they are still thinking in their first language and trying to change every single word. But what if there was another way? A way that felt more natural, like learning to walk or ride a bike. That's what this book is about. We want to help you learn to think in English. This means your thoughts, your ideas, and your words come out in English without you needing to change them first. It's like speaking your first language. It just happens. To learn to think in English and to speak it well, you don't need to cram for tests or memorize long lists of words. You need to build a small, steady habit. Think about anything you've become good at. Maybe it's cooking a favorite meal, playing a sport, or even waking up early. Did you get good at it by doing it only once in a while, for a very long time? Probably not. You got good at it because you did it a little bit every single day. I remember when I wanted to learn to play the guitar. I bought a guitar and it sat in the corner for weeks. I felt a little bad, but I also felt like I didn't have enough time to really practice. Then I told myself, just 10 minutes. Every day. No excuses. So I started. 10 minutes. Sometimes I just played the same sound. Sometimes I tried to play one simple song. It didn't feel like much. Some days, those 10 minutes went by very fast and I wondered if it was even worth it. But I kept doing it. After a month, I saw something amazing. My fingers were getting stronger. I could change sounds a little faster. I started to remember the song without looking at the notes. After 6 months, I could play a few songs for my friends. It wasn't magic. It was just those small, daily efforts adding up. Those 10 minutes each day were more powerful than one big, long practice session once a week. This is the magic of being steady. This is the power of a small, daily habit. Learning English is just like this. You don't need to spend hours and hours studying. What you need is a little bit of English every single day. Making English a part of your daily life helps your brain get used to it. It's like your brain is slowly building new paths for English words and ideas. When you practice a little bit every day, you're not just learning words. You're teaching your brain to use English. You're making English feel less like a school subject and more like a normal part of your day. This is how you stop changing words and start thinking directly in English. So, what does this daily practice look like? It's built on 3 simple, strong actions: listen, repeat, and speak. These are the base of making English a habit. First, listen. Listening is the most important thing you can do when you're learning a language. When you listen to English, you are taking in real words, real sounds, and real sentences. You hear how people naturally join words, how their voices go up and down, and how they use different words for different times. It's like giving your brain the food it needs to understand English. When you listen, you're not just hearing sounds, you're taking in the beat and the music of the language. Why is listening so important for thinking in English? Because when you listen to people who speak English, you hear English as it is spoken. You hear how words are naturally joined together. Your brain starts to make connections between the sounds you hear and what they mean. This helps you to understand English without needing to change words. You begin to understand the feeling of the language. For example, when you hear someone say, "It's raining cats and dogs," if you only focus on the words, you might be confused. But if you hear it when it's happening, and maybe see the speaker smile, you start to understand it means it's raining very heavily. This understanding comes from listening, not from changing words. When you listen, try to find things you enjoy. Listen to songs, short talks, short stories, or even simple talks between people. Don't worry if you don't understand everything at first. The goal is to let yourself hear English as much as possible. The more you listen, the more your ears will get used to the sounds and the more your brain will start to see patterns. This easy listening is good, but careful listening is even better. Careful listening means you are paying attention, trying to catch specific words or phrases. Next, we have repeat. This is where you start to use what you've heard. Repeating what you hear is like practicing what you've learned. When you repeat, you are trying to copy the sounds, the beat, and the way the speaker says the words. This is very important for how you say things and for making your English sound more natural. It also helps you to remember the way sentences are built. Think about it. When you were a child learning your first language, you didn't just listen. You tried to copy what your parents said. You repeated words and phrases over and over. Repeating helps your mouth muscles get used to making new sounds. It also helps your brain remember how words fit together in a sentence. When you repeat a phrase like, "I'm going to the park," you are not just saying the words. You are practicing the order. I who is doing it, am going what is happening to the park where. By repeating, you are training your brain to build sentences in this English order, without thinking about the order in your own language. Repeating helps to skip changing words because you are directly copying the sounds and sentence shapes you hear. Your brain starts to link the English sounds and sentence shapes to the meaning, rather than linking them to the words in your own language. It's like building a direct line. When you repeat, you are actively using the language. You are not just listening, you are doing. This active doing is very important for becoming good at speaking. Finally, we have speak. This is the part where you put it all together. Speaking is the main goal, but it can also be the scariest part for many learners. The good news is that you don't need to wait until you're perfect to start speaking. You can start speaking from day one. And the best way to do this is by speaking along with what you hear or what you have just repeated. Speaking, even if it's just to yourself, is very important. It makes your brain find words and phrases from your memory and put them into sentences. This is actively remembering, and it's much stronger than just knowing words when you hear or read them. When you speak, you are practicing using the language. You are making the sounds, forming the sentences, and saying your thoughts. How can you speak without changing words? By using the listen and repeat steps first. If you listen to a short phrase like "What are you doing?" and then repeat it a few times, you are getting your brain ready to say it. Then try to use it. Maybe you can ask yourself the question, or maybe you can think of a simple answer. Even if you just say, "I am reading," you are practicing speaking. The beauty of the listen, repeat, speak way is that it naturally helps you to think in English. When you listen, you are hearing English meaning directly. When you repeat, you are making those English sounds and shapes stronger. When you speak, you are trying to use those English shapes. Over time, this process teaches your brain to form thoughts directly in English. You start to connect the English word dog with the animal itself, not with the word for dog in your own language. You start to think of the sentence shape, "I want water" directly, rather than thinking "I want water" in your own language and then changing it. Let's think about how someone can really fit 15-20 minutes of English practice into their busy day, and what good things come from doing this regularly. Fitting 15-20 minutes of English into a busy day is easier than you think. It's about finding small bits of time and making them useful. For example, you could listen to a short talk during your travel to work or school. You could repeat a few phrases while you're making breakfast or washing dishes. You could say a few sentences to yourself while you're walking. The key is to be planned. It's not about finding a big block of free time. It's about using small moments well. Many people find that the best times are during things they already do, like their morning coffee, their lunch break, or when they are getting ready for bed. The good things from doing this regularly are huge. First, it builds confidence. Every time you finish your 15-20 minutes of practice, you have achieved a small success. This builds energy and makes you feel good about your progress. It stops you from feeling overwhelmed. Instead of thinking, "I need to study for hours," you think, "I just need to do my 15 minutes." This is much less scary. Second, doing it regularly makes it feel normal. The more you hear English every day, the more comfortable and natural it becomes. It reduces the worry that comes with speaking a new language. You start to feel more at ease with the sounds and the flow of English. This regular hearing also helps to make what you learn stick. Information stays in your memory better when it's looked at often, even in small amounts, rather than being crammed in one long session. It's like giving a plant a little bit of water every day instead of flooding it once a week. Now, let's think about the difference between actively listening to and repeating English phrases and just reading them, in terms of training the brain to think in English. Actively listening and repeating English phrases is much better for your brain than just reading them. When you just read, you are looking at the language. Your brain looks at the written words, and you might understand what they mean. But it often still involves changing words, where you match the written English word to its meaning in your own language. Active listening, on the other hand, uses the parts of your brain that process sounds. You hear the actual sounds of the language, the rise and fall of the voice, and the beat. This helps your brain to create direct links between sounds and meaning. For example, hearing the word happy spoken in a cheerful way helps you understand its feeling right away. This skips the need to change the written word. Your brain learns to react directly to the sound. Repeating takes this further by using your body's movements and your hearing. When you repeat a phrase, you are physically making the sounds. This strengthens the muscle memory needed for saying things correctly. At the same time, you are hearing yourself speak. This sound feedback lets your brain compare how you say it to the original sound you heard, helping you to fix your own mistakes and make it better. This active making and self-fixing is very important for saying things correctly and for building sentences the right way. By repeating, you are not just understanding English, you are actively practicing making it. This active making is a vital step in moving from understanding to speaking easily, which is the main part of thinking in English. Reading might help you understand grammar rules on paper, but listening and repeating helps you to feel the grammar and use it naturally. It's the difference between knowing the steps to make a cake and actually making it. Reading tells you the things you need and the steps, but listening and repeating is like practicing the mixing and the baking, getting your hands messy and learning by doing. These simple, daily actions, listening, repeating, and speaking, are the basic parts. They are your daily path. By using these simple, daily actions, listening, repeating, and speaking, you start to change your brain for English. But to truly make this a strong daily habit, you need to know clearly what you should be listening to, repeating, and speaking. The next section. 2. Speak English with confidence. Confidence is a funny thing. It is like a shy bird that only sings when it feels safe. Many of us learning English feel like we are hiding. We wait for the perfect moment, the perfect words, or the perfect grammar rule. Then we feel ready to speak. We know the words. We understand when others speak. But when it is our turn, our voice feels stuck and our mind goes blank. This is why we need to talk about speaking English with confidence. Think about your first language. Did you worry about making mistakes? Did you wait until you knew all the grammar rules before you spoke your first word? Probably not. You learned by trying. You made sounds. Slowly, those sounds became words. Words became sentences. Your brain was already set up to think in that language. When you wanted something, the words just came out. That is the goal for English. The secret to speaking English well is not about being perfect. It is about being brave enough to speak even when you are not perfect. Imagine a child learning to ride a bike. They fall, they wobble, they get hurt. Do they stop? They get back on. Each fall teaches them. They learn to balance better. They learn to steer more smoothly. Speaking English is the same. Every time you try to say something, even if it is not quite right, you are learning. You are teaching your mouth to make sounds. You are teaching your brain to find words. You are teaching your ears to hear yourself. This is where thinking in English becomes your superpower. Thinking in English means forming your thoughts directly in English. Do not change them from your own language. When you do this, you are building a bridge from your mind to your mouth. You are not thinking, how do I say I am hungry in English? You just feel hungry and the English words I am hungry come to your mind. When this happens, saying it out loud is much easier. It feels natural. It feels like you. So, how do we make this happen? We make it a daily habit. We practice saying things out loud. Yes, even when you are alone. This might feel a bit strange at first, but it is very strong. When you are walking, cooking, or just sitting quietly, try thinking about what you are doing and saying it in English. I am chopping vegetables. The sun is shining today. I need to buy milk. These simple sentences, said out loud, start to build paths in your brain and your mouth. Your tongue gets used to the shapes of English sounds. Your brain gets used to finding those English words quickly. It is like giving your speaking muscles a workout. I remember a student named Maria. She was very good at grammar. She could write essays that were almost perfect. But when she spoke in class, she would blush. Her voice would get very quiet, and she would often say, "I don't know," even when I knew she did. She was very afraid of making a mistake in front of others. One day, we were talking about hobbies, and she loved gardening. I asked her, "Maria, tell us about your garden." She froze. Then, I said, "Maria, just tell me one thing you did in your garden this week. Say it as if you were telling a friend." She took a deep breath and whispered, I plant flower." The grammar was not perfect, but she was speaking. I smiled and said, "That's wonderful, Maria. You planted a flower. That's great. What kind of flower?" And she, a little more relaxed, said, "Red flower." From that small start, a little more of her confidence came back. She saw that saying it, even if it was not perfect, was okay. It was the start of her journey to speaking more freely. Mistakes are not the enemies of speaking. They are our teachers. Think of them as helpful little signs showing us the right way. If you say, "I go to the shop yesterday," and someone gently corrects you to, "I went to the shop yesterday," that is not a failure. That is you learning the past tense. The next time, you will try to remember went. Every mistake you make and learn from is a step forward. The biggest problem to speaking confidently is the fear of making mistakes. When you accept that mistakes are part of the process, that fear starts to get smaller. How does the habit of thinking in English directly make the fear of speaking English smaller? When you train your mind to think in English, you are building a direct link between your thoughts and English. Words. You are skipping the step of changing your thoughts from your language to English. This means that when you want to share an idea, the English words are already there, ready to come out. You do not have to stop and search for them. This direct link makes speaking feel more automatic and less like a hard puzzle. Less effort in thinking means less worry when you open your mouth. Your brain is already speaking English inside, so your voice just needs to catch up. It makes the thinking process easier and less pressure to get it right because the thinking itself is already in. English. What are the most common mental problems that stop us from speaking confidently, and how can the daily practice way help fix them? The most common problem is fear. Fear of others judging you, fear of not being understood, fear of looking silly, and the fear of not being perfect. Another big one is not practicing enough. We know the rules, but we do not have the habit of speaking. The daily practice way deals with these directly. By making it a habit to speak English out loud every day, even just a few simple sentences, you start to get used to the fear. You become familiar with the sounds and rhythm of English. You start to see that mistakes happen, and nothing bad happens. Each time you speak, you have a small win, and these wins add up, making the fear smaller and building your confidence. The more you practice speaking, the less scary it becomes and the more natural it feels. The exercises of listening and repeating that we have talked about are also very important here. When you listen to people who speak English as their first language, you are not just hearing words. You are taking in the music of the language, how sentences go up and down, where they naturally pause. When you repeat, you are training your voice to make those sounds. This makes the physical act of speaking feel more familiar and less strange. It is like learning a song. You listen to it many times, you sing along, and finally, you can sing it yourself without thinking too hard. Speaking English becomes like singing that song. You have heard it, you have practiced it, and now you can do it. So do not wait for perfection. Start speaking. Start small. Speak to yourself. Speak to friends. Speak in class. Accept the wobbles, the stumbles, and the words that are sometimes wrong. They are all part of your journey. Each time you choose to speak, you choose to build your confidence. You choose to let your voice be heard in English. And with every word you speak, you are getting closer to speaking English easily. With your mind now ready to think in English and your confidence growing with every word you speak, the next step is to make sure your spoken English is clear and easy to understand. We have built the base for speaking. Now let's focus on the parts that make communication clear. 3. Think in English naturally. For a long time, it felt like I was behind a clear wall. I could see people talking and laughing, but when I tried to speak English, something always stopped me. My mind would rush, trying to find the right English words for what I wanted to say in my own language. It was like trying to run with heavy weights on my feet. This is what I call the translation trap. Imagine you want to say, "I am very hungry." If you translate this word by word, your brain does this. Yo estoy very hungry hambriento. This takes time. You must find each English word, check if it fits, and then put them together. By the time you say "I am very hungry," the chance to say it might be gone. This is not just slow, it makes your English sound strange. Sentences might be correct in grammar, but feel awkward because they are built using the rules of your own language, not English. Always translating is a big problem for speaking easily. It stops you from being fast and natural. You cannot enjoy a fun talk when half your brain is busy being a dictionary and a grammar checker. It is like trying to paint a nice picture, but you keep stopping to look up the name of every single color. You lose the flow, the feeling, and the fun of creating. This is the main reason why many people know many English words and grammar rules, but still find it hard to speak smoothly. They are stuck trying to change their thoughts, not sharing them. But what if there was another way? What if you could skip this translation step? This is the main idea of thinking in English. It means your thoughts do not start in your own language and then change. Instead, they form directly in English. When you want to say you are hungry, the idea of hungry just comes with the English word hungry tied to it. You do not think, "What is the word for hamburger in English?" You just think, "I need food. I'm hungry." This direct connection is what makes a native speaker sound so natural. They do not translate, they share. They hear a sound, and they understand its meaning right away. They have an idea, and the English words to share it come to them without waiting. It is like when you were a child learning your first language. You did not translate. You heard sounds, you saw things, and you learned to connect them. Ball meant that round thing you play with. Mama meant that special person who takes care of you. Your brain made these direct links. Thinking in English is about making these direct links again, but this time, with English words and sentences. Think about learning to ride a bike. When you first started, you probably thought a lot about every move. Put my foot here. Push the pedal. Keep balance this way. It was slow and awkward. You might have fallen a few times. But with practice, you stopped thinking about each small step. Your body just knew what to do. You could steer, pedal, and balance all at once, and you could even talk while riding. Your brain learned to do it without thinking. Thinking in English is like that. It is not about being born with a special skill. It is about teaching your brain by practicing often. Every time you listen to English, say a phrase again, or try to speak, you are making those direct links stronger. You are telling your brain, this English sound or word means this idea. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes. The translation trap starts to fade, and thinking directly in English begins to feel like the most normal thing. Making these direct links might seem hard at first, especially if you have been translating for a long time. It is like trying to change a habit, but your brain is very amazing. It is made to learn and change. This ability to change and make new links is called neuroplasticity. It means your brain is not fixed, it can be changed. The ways we will look at in this book are made to help your brain change itself. They guide you to make those direct English paths, making the change from translating to thinking directly not just possible, but a normal result of your daily work. So, how can you start to see this change happening? The first sign that you are moving away from the translation trap is when you pause less. Instead of a long quiet time while you look for words, you might have a shorter pause or sometimes no pause at all. You might also start to notice that the English sentences you say feel more right or sound more like the English you hear from native speakers. They might not be perfect, but they have a natural flow that was not there before. Another sign is when you start to understand word groups or common phrases without needing to translate them word for word. For example, if someone says, "It's raining cats and dogs," you do not try to imagine animals falling from the sky. Instead, you instantly know it means it's raining very heavily. This quick understanding is a clear sign that you are starting to understand English directly, not through a translation filter. You might also find yourself thinking about things in English. For instance, instead of planning your day in your own language and then changing your plans to English, you might start to make the plan itself using English words. Okay, first I will wake up. Then I will make breakfast. After that, I need to go to work. This inner talk, happening directly in English, is a strong step toward speaking fluently. It is important to remember that natural does not mean you will never make mistakes. Even native speakers sometimes say the wrong thing or use the wrong word. Naturalness in language is about being at ease, having flow, and being able to share your thoughts well and without planning. It is about feeling relaxed and sure of yourself when you speak, and that comfort comes from your brain being trained to think in the language. The path from needing to translate to thinking directly in English is a slow one. It needs patience and steady work. But every small step you take, every time you choose to listen, repeat, or speak English instead of translating, you are getting closer to that goal. You are actively building the brain paths that will let you share yourself with ease and trust. This book is made to be your helper, offering practical steps to help you train your brain and find your natural English voice. The problem of translation is real, but it is not a forever problem. By understanding the issue and accepting the answer, thinking in English, you are already on the right path. Once you understand why this direct way of thinking is so strong and that it is a skill you can work on, the next step is to look at the specific, useful habits that will help you build this natural way of thinking. We will go from understanding the why to mastering the how, making the idea of thinking in English your everyday reality. 4. Build your English skills. Think of learning a new skill, like playing music or painting. You can't just know how to play the piano by reading a book. You must put your fingers on the keys, practice the notes, and try to make music. Learning to think in English is the same. It's a skill you build each day with practice. You've learned that being fluent means your brain speaks English without you first thinking in your own language and then changing it. This is the core of thinking in English. It's like your brain has a direct path to English, not a detour through another language. But how do we build this direct path? How do we teach our minds to do this easily? We will explore that now. We will break down the steps to build your English skills, one small, strong action at a time. The base, listening well. Before you can speak, you must listen. But not just listening without paying attention. We mean listening well. Think of it like this. When you hear music you like, you hear the tune, the beat, the instruments. You don't just hear noise. You hear how it's put together and how it feels. Listening well in English is like that. You are not just trying to catch a few words. You are paying close attention to the whole language. When you listen well to people who speak English naturally, whether it's in a story, a movie, a song, or a talk, you are giving your brain the things it needs to think in English. This is not just about understanding the story or the main idea. It's about taking in the sound of English. You notice how words join, how sentences flow, and the natural beat of speaking. How does this help you think in English? When you hear a group of words used many times in different situations, your brain starts to link that group of words to its meaning without you thinking. It's like seeing a red stop sign. You don't think, red means stop. You just see red and your foot goes to the brake. In the same way, by listening well, you hear common English phrases, and your brain starts to connect them directly to the idea they mean. For example, imagine you are listening to a story. You hear the person say, "It's a piece of cake," several times. The first time, you might understand it means it's very easy. But if you keep hearing it, and you notice the happy voice and the relaxed situation where it's used, your brain starts to make a direct link. The feeling of easy becomes linked to the sound of a piece of cake, without you having to change easy from your language into English first. This is the start of thinking in English. The language itself starts to carry the meaning directly. So, when you listen, pay attention to the sounds. How do the words sound? Are there any sounds that are new to you? The beat. Where do speakers pause? Where do they speed up? English has a natural rhythm. The word order. Notice how sentences are put together. What comes first? What comes last? Common phrases. Listen for expressions that seem to be used a lot. These are your building blocks. By doing this, you are not just understanding better, you are teaching your ear to see English patterns. This is the very first step. Your brain is collecting the information, the real sounds and ways sentences are built, that it will later use to form its own thoughts in English. It's like gathering the best food ingredients before you start cooking. The bridge, repeating and copying listening is like looking at a nice picture. It's good, but to truly learn, you need to pick up a brush yourself. This is where repeating and copying come in. This is the bridge that connects what you hear to what you can say. It's a strong tool, and it works because it's how we learned our very first language as babies. Think back to when you were a child. You heard sounds, you heard words, and you tried to copy them. Your parents would say mama or dada, and you would make sounds and try to make those sounds. It was all about copying. Repeating and copying in English learning do the same thing. They teach your mouth, your tongue, and your brain to make English sounds and patterns easily. When you repeat English phrases out loud, you are doing more than just saying words. You are using your body to help you learn. Your mouth muscles learn the new shapes needed for English sounds. Your tongue learns to move in new ways. Your brain also starts to connect the sound you make with the meaning of the phrase. This makes it easier to remember than just hearing it. Let's go back to our piece of cake example. After hearing it, the next step is to repeat it. Say it out loud, a piece of cake. Feel the beat. Then, try to say it with the same feeling you heard. If the speaker sounded happy and relaxed, try to show that. When you repeat it, you are not thinking, "How do I say very easy in English?" You are simply saying a piece of cake. This act of repeating the English phrase directly helps to skip the changing step. Your brain is learning to connect the English sound with the English meaning. The good things for your mind are important. When you repeat, your brain is actively working with the sound and how it's put together. It's like giving your brain a workout. This repetition helps to build new paths in your brain. Think of it like making a path through a forest. The first time, it's hard, but with each repetition, the path becomes clearer, easier to follow, and more natural. This is exactly what happens when you repeat English phrases. You are making it easier for your brain to get to and use English directly. Here are some ways to practice repeating and copying well. Shadowing. This is a great way. Listen to a short sound clip 1 or 2 sentences, and then right away try to repeat it exactly as you heard it, trying to match the speaker's speed, feeling, and how they say the words. Don't worry about understanding every single word at first. Focus on the sound. Repeat after me. Many language learning apps and audio courses have a repeat after me option. Stop the audio and say the phrase out loud. Record yourself. Use your phone to record yourself saying a phrase or sentence. Then listen back and compare it to the person who first said it. This helps you see where you can get better. Focus on short phrases. Start with short, common phrases. How are you? Nice to meet you. Thank you. Repeat these until they feel natural. The main thing here is active repeating. You are not just mumbling words. You are trying hard to copy the sounds and the flow of the language. This builds what we call muscle memory for English. Your mouth and brain are becoming more comfortable with the language, making it easier to make English sounds and sentences without having to think about changing them. This physical and mental practice is what creates the bridge from understanding without speaking to speaking. The change, speaking with purpose repeating, is like practicing notes on a piano. It's important, but the real music happens when you start playing songs. Speaking with purpose is about moving from just repeating what you've heard to using English to say your own thoughts and ideas. This is where the special part of thinking in English truly starts to form. This step is about using the patterns you've learned from listening and repeating. It's about taking those building blocks and starting to build something new. When you speak with purpose, you are trying hard to form your thoughts directly in English, even if it's simple at first. The goal is to use English to talk to others, not just to say words you've memorized. How do you move from repeating to this kind of speaking? It's about making a clear effort to use the English you know. Even if you are alone, you can practice this. Think about your day. What did you eat? What did you do? Try to explain it in English. Let's say you have been practicing the phrase "it's a piece of cake." Now you want to use it. Maybe you just finished a simple task, like making a cup of tea. Instead of thinking, making tea is easy, in your own language, and then changing it, try this. Think about the action of making tea. Then try to find an English phrase to describe it. If you remember a piece of cake, you can say to yourself, making tea, that was a piece of cake. This is the big change. You are using an English phrase to describe something that really happened. You are not changing words. You are thinking about what happened and then finding the English phrase that fits. This might feel a little slow at first, and that's perfectly fine. The important thing is that you are trying to think in English. Here are some clear ways to practice speaking with purpose. Tell yourself about your day to yourself. As you go through your day, explain what you are doing, seeing, or thinking in simple English. I am walking to the kitchen. I see a blue car. I feel happy. Even if it's just 1 or 2 words, that's a start. Use what you have learned. When you learn a new word or phrase, try to use it as soon as possible. If you learn the word delicious, try to say your food is delicious later that day. Ask yourself questions in English. What is this? How do I say that? What should I do next? Answering these questions in English helps you practice making sentences. Imagine talking. Think about a talk you might have. Who would you speak to? What would you say? Practice this talk in English in your mind or out loud. Focus on simple sentences first. Don't try to build difficult sentences right away. Start with short, clear sentences. I like coffee. The weather is sunny. As you feel more comfortable, you can add more words. The main idea here is to make your English work. You are taking the knowledge you got from listening and repeating, and you are making it active. You are giving your brain permission to use English to say its own thoughts. This is a very important step because it builds confidence. Every time you manage to say a thought in English, even a simple one, you are making it stronger that you can think in English. This process is about building fluency through practice. It's about making English a tool for your own thoughts, not just something you study. When you speak with purpose, you are actively teaching your brain to skip changing words and to form ideas directly. In English, this is the heart of thinking in English, and it's a skill that gets stronger with every try. The habit, doing it often, is key. We have talked about listening, repeating, and speaking. These are the actions. But what makes these actions truly strong? What turns them into skills? It's doing them often. Building the ability to think in English isn't about one big effort. It's about small, regular efforts that add up over time. It's about making English a part of your everyday life. Think about building muscles. You don't go to the gym for one very long time and expect to be strong forever. You go often, maybe a few times a week, and do exercises that make your muscles work hard. Over time, your muscles get stronger. Thinking in English works the same way. You need to make it a habit. When you practice listening, repeating, and speaking in English every day, even for just a few minutes, you are creating a constant flow of English into your brain and out of your mouth. This constant flow is what helps to change your brain. It keeps the paths you are building clear and strong. Why is a daily habit so important for thinking in English? Makes changing words faster. The more you practice thinking directly in English, the less time your brain will. Conclusion: you have come to the end of this book. This is a great thing. It shows you really want to speak English better. We learned the best way to become good at English. Think in English. We saw why it's important to not translate in your head. We learned how to do this every day. You know the why and the how. Now let's look at what's next. Remember why we focus so much on thinking in English. It helps you talk easily and naturally. When your thoughts are already in English, you don't change words from your own language. This makes you speak faster and sound better. Your brain will work like a native English speaker. You will answer questions faster. You will understand grammar better. You will sound like yourself, but in English. You will not just know English, you will live it. You will understand jokes and the real meaning of words. This will make you feel much more sure of yourself. When you stop translating, you stop waiting to speak. You will speak with more trust and ease. We learned to listen well, repeat things, and speak with a goal. These are the steps to change your brain. They help thinking in English become real. Listening helps you hear how English sounds. Repeating helps you say words clearly. Speaking helps you learn and feel more confident. Some days will be hard. You might want to translate again. That's okay. Learning takes time. The best part of this book is practicing every day. You get good at English by doing it often, not just sometimes. Even 15-20 minutes each day of listening, repeating, and speaking can help a lot. This keeps your brain working to think in English. So, how do you keep going? Make English a part of your day. Listen to English shows when you travel. Watch your favorite shows in English. Read about things you like. And most important, find chances to speak. You can even talk to yourself in English. Say things like, I am making coffee now. The water is hot. This helps you think in English. Set small, easy goals. Today, maybe you can talk about your breakfast in English. This week, try to watch one show without reading the words on the screen. Don't be afraid of mistakes. They help you learn. Think about a future where you can share your ideas clearly. You can meet people from other places. You can find new chances in life and work. This is what thinking in English can do. It helps you be your best. You have the knowledge. You have the ways to do it. You have the strength inside you to speak English well. This book was your guide. Now it's up to you. From today on, say this to yourself. I will think in English. Let this help you practice. Let it keep you wanting to learn. Let it be the base for your good English. Thank you for being with me on this path. I am very happy for you and the English you will speak. Go now, practice each day, and use the power of thinking in English. Your future of speaking English well is waiting.